Hello, good morning, friends. Welcome to this new class. And we are coming to the last lesson of this geography. And here we learn about human resources. We have already learned about human beings, the value of the human beings, the importance of human beings. So many things we have learned about human beings. And we also studied about different natural resources. And we can say among all the resources, human being is the most important resources, because without human beings, all the other resources become useless. There is nobody to make use of these resources if human beings are not there, because human beings are resources with the intellectual capacities, with the physical capacities, and so on. So we can make use of these natural resources and other resources to a certain purpose. If we are not there, then all that will remain idle and all that will become useless. So we shall see in this lesson particularly about how the human resources can be made use in the best possible way. So we can take lesson number 6 and page number 66. Even in the Indian government, there is a ministry called Human Resources Ministry, and that was started in 1985 with the intention of improving the people's skills. The better the skills, better he will become a resource. So, in order to provide more opportunities to improve the skills of the human beings, the ministry involved or evolved a special ministry or special section called Human Resources. So we learn about in this lesson about all these things. So people are a nation's great resource. So there's no doubt about it. People are the most important resource of a nation. Then nature's bounty becomes significant only when people find it useful. And it is people with their demands and abilities that turn them into resources. So if the nature is very rich, the natural things are abundant and it is very useful. But if human beings are not there, human beings with their demands, we make so many things because there is a demand. If human beings are not there, means there is no demand. Just take the case of the animals. Do they have any demand? If they get their stomach full food, they are satisfied. They will remain quiet anyway. But human beings have got more and more demand. We want to make a house, we want to make a better house, or we want to provide more facilities in that house, and so our demands are increasing. Therefore, we make use the resources that are more and more available, that are more and more found here, and we have got that ability to turn the resources into something else, to make use of that resources. Suppose human beings have no ability, no skill, then it is same. We are same as animals. We have no idea, no knowledge, and so on. So thank God we are with the skill, with the abilities. Therefore, we are able to make use of this natural resources. So hence, human resources is the ultimate resource. And healthy, educated and motivated people develop resources as per requirements. So which are the people who can change or convert natural resources into something that is useful? That is people with good health, people with good education, and people with good motivation. So health, education and motivation, these are the things that is needed for a human being to make use of his abilities, make use of his natural resources in order to convert them into something that is useful. Then human resources, like other resources, are not equally distributed over the world. So human resources are not equally distributed over the world. They differ in their educational levels, age and sex. Their numbers and characteristics are also keep changing. So human beings are not same everywhere, you know. There are some places human beings are different in their colors. There are some places human beings are different in their size. Some places they are very tall, some places they are very short. No, some places they are very well educated, some places education is very low. So they are not same all over the world. We can see the pictures are there. See what is the conversation going on. So the conversation. How many people do you think there are in the whole world? Then the child says, there are 30 children in my class. There are 500 children in my school. In my village, 1000 people. So 6.6 billion people are there. So write that in numbers. So people are different. In my class, so many children. In my school, so many people. In my village, so many people. And in the whole world, so many people. So the population is not same everywhere. It is changing from place to place. Now let us see how this population is distributed in the world. The distribution of population. The way in which people are spread across the earth's surface is known as the pattern of population distribution. So we can underline that. The way in which people are spread across the earth's surface is known as pattern of population distribution. So sometimes they'll ask, what is the pattern of the population distribution? So what is the answer? The way in which the people are spread across the earth's surface is known as the pattern of population distribution. Then more than 90% of the world's population lives in about 30% of the land surface. So most of the people are living together. So 90% of the people in the world you will find living together in occupying the 30% of the land. And the distribution of population in the world is extremely uneven. So because of that we can say the distribution of the population is uneven, unequal. So because 90% of the people, the bulk of the people are settled only in just 30%, a very limited area are occupied. That means that area is very good for living. Some of the areas are like a desert, the very cold mountains, there are nobody's living. So those lands are left free, they are forests and so on. So only just 30% of the land is occupied by majority of the people. Some areas are very crowded and some are sparsely populated. So some areas are very crowded, very thickly populated, but some places are sparsely populated. Sparsely means very little, very thin, not very thick people population. The crowded areas are South and Southeast Asia, then Europe and Northeastern North America. So we said 30% of the land is occupied by 90% of the people. And which are those areas? That is South and Southeast Asia. So some of the Asian countries. Then Europe, then Northeast and North America. These are the places where the population is very high. And very few people live in the high latitude areas. So very few people are living in high latitude areas, tropical deserts, high mountains and areas of equatorial forests. So you'll find very few people living in the high latitude areas. Then tropical deserts, nobody will live in the desert sites. Then high mountains, so going and staying on top of the mountain is not much encouraged. Then areas of equatorial forests, the forests in the equator regions, there also nobody lives. Then many people live in north of the equator than south of the equator. So which area of the equator is populated highly? South or north? North, no? So north part of the equator, north of the equator is more highly populated than south part of the equator. Then almost 3/4 of the world's people live in two continents, Asia and Africa. So these two continents, Asia and Africa, they are the continents which are highly populated, and almost we can say that three quarters of the world's people. 3/4 means 75%. 3/4. So that means the 3/4 or 75% of the population they are found in these two continents. 60% of the world's people stay in just two countries. Just 10 countries. So 60% of the people are living in just 10 countries. And all of them have more than 100 million people. So these 10 countries, their population is very high, and their population is above 100 million. And you can see in your picture again, of every 100 people in the world, you can see here the people living in the world. So there are, you will find color, different colors are given. How many colors are there? 6 colors are given there, and you can see the yellow ones are majority, isn't it? The yellow ones are majority. They are the people living in Asia. And the second one is Europe. So second highest is Europe. So Asia is much higher than all the other continents in the case of population. Then Africa also is same as Europe. Then other rest, the blue, live in the Central and South America. Very few people are there. Then Northern America, there are also few. And green, they are the fewest. Live in Oceania, that is Australia, New Zealand and Pacific Islands. So we can see which continent has got highest population? Asia. Asia is much higher than all the other. Then followed by Europe and Africa. So we need to be aware about how the population is spread, which are the areas where people are living, and so on. Then we can also see the chart is given there. You can see a chart. There you can find which are the countries leading in the case of population. So we see Japan, and so is very few. Japan, Russia, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Brazil, Indonesia, USA, India, China. So China is the country which has got highest population, and India has got second place. So then all the rest you see, they are very few. So India and China, they are much ahead of all the other countries. So the third one is USA, and they are much lower than India and China. Then let us see about the density of population. What's meaning density? Density means the thickness, how close by the people are living, how closely they are living. So population density is the number of people living in a unit area of the earth's surface. We can underline what is the population density. That is the number of people living in a given area. So suppose 1 square kilometer. We take 1 square kilometer. So how many people are living in this? Maybe 100 people, or maybe 200 people, or 500 people. So accordingly the density will be different. It is normally expressed as per square kilometer. And the average density of population in the world is 51% per square kilometer. So if you take the whole world average density of the population, we will find in 1 square kilometer there are 51 people living, that is in the whole world. Then South Central Asia has the highest density of population, followed by East and Southeast Asia. So if you come to Asia, then the population is much more higher. The density is much higher than this 51 percentage. So which is the place has got highest density? South Central Asian countries, they have got highest density of population, and followed by East and Southeast Asia. So because India and China are there, we can say the population will be always in the continent of Asia. And we can see some GK is given there. Do you know? Average density of population in India is 382 persons per square kilometer. So see the difference. In India it is 382. So if you take average 1 square kilometer in India, how many people will be living within that? 382. But in the world it is only 51. You see how many times more? 6 times, 7 times more than the world's population is found in India. Then see, two children are doing that conversation there. When all the 30 students are present, our classroom seems very crowded. But when the same class is seated in the school assembly hall, it seems so open and empty. Why? So the child says, when all are present in the classroom seems to be crowded. But when we go out into the assembly hall, then our class seems to be very small. So because of the area, classroom is small, so we feel it is crowded. But assembly hall is very big, therefore we feel very small. So because the size or area of the hall is much larger than that of the classroom, however, when all the students of the school come into the hall too starts looking crowded. So that is just a fact about the area, how some areas look big and how some areas look small and so on. Then factors affecting the distribution of the population. What are the factors affecting the distribution of population? The factors affecting the distribution of population. So first one is topography. Topography. People always prefer to live on plains rather than mountains and plateaus because these areas are suitable for farming, manufacturing and service activities. So if we are given an option, there is a hill nearby and there is a plain nearby. So which place will you choose to live? You like to live on top of the hill or in a plain area? So most of the people will say we want to live in the plain area because living in the plain has got a lot of advantages. The plain area is suitable for cultivation. Then we can do other activities like we can start a company, factory, industry, all that. On top of the hill nobody starts industry, no? So plain area is always suitable for various kinds of activities. So we can do agriculture, we can do manufacturing of different things. We can start industry, factory and also other service, transportation service will be there in the plain much more than that of the hill and so on. So the topography, that is the area. Topography means the top of the earth or the land, whether it is high or low, or it's a plain or hill. That is the way people like to choose. So on top of the hill the population density will be very low, and in the plain the density will be very high. Then the Ganga plains are the most densely populated areas of the world. So we can underline which are the areas densely populated in the world. The Ganga plain, that is in the North India, the along the river of Ganga. Then, while mountains like Andes, Alps, and Himalayas are sparsely populated, and the mountains they are very sparsely, very thinly populated. Which are the mountains? Andes mountain, Alps mountain, and Himalaya mountain, and so there are no people living, or very few people are living. So that is one thing. And second one is climate. The climate also matters whether people would like to live there or not. So people usually avoid extreme climates that are very hot or very cold, like Sahara Desert, polar regions of Russia, Canada, Antarctica, and so on. So if it is too hot, like Thar Desert, and so people don't like to live there because too hot and water is not available, cultivation is not possible, rain is not there, and so on. So people avoid very hot places. And if it is very cold also people don't like, because the area will be always covered by snow and so on. So therefore they are not able to live a comfortable life there. So extreme hot and extreme cold people don't like. People like moderate climate, not too cold and not too hot. Then another thing people prefer is soil. The soil should be good for the people to live or to choose the place. So fertile soils provide suitable land for agriculture. Fertile plains such as Ganga and Brahmaputra in India, Huanghe, Changjiang in China, and Nile in Egypt are densely populated. So the soil, especially that are near to the river, which is very fertile, and therefore the people will prefer to live there, because fertile soil means people can do a lot of cultivation, and if the nearby river is there means people can even start industry which requires a lot of water. Therefore the soil is an important factor in deciding the distribution of the population. Then another thing is water, the availability of water. Soil and then water. So people prefer to live in the areas where fresh water is easily available, and the river valleys of the world are densely populated, while deserts have a sparse population. So just as the soil is very important, water is also very important, because people have to have the water for their home use, for their personal use, as well as for agriculture, for farming, and so on. So people prefer to live in the place where there is a good fertile soil as well as the availability of water. Then another thing is minerals, where there should be more minerals also. So people prefer to have some minerals. So areas with mineral deposits are more populated, like diamond mines in South Africa, and discovery of oil in the Middle East lead to settling of people in these areas. So where there are more minerals, it will mean that people will become rich there. People will have a lot of opportunities to live a good life or rich life. For example, in South Africa there is diamond mines. So if they are able to work in diamond mines, they will be paid very high. It is very profitable. Or in the Gulf countries, where there is plenty of petroleum products. So people who work there, they get a lot of money. So people like to live where these minerals are available, so that they can work there and become rich. Then some of the aspects are social, cultural, and economic factors. They are also helpful for the people to choose where they should live. For example, social. Areas of better housing, education, and health facilities are more densely populated. For example, Pune. So people want to have facilities, social facilities like education, health facilities like hospital, and also a better place for making house and so on. People don't like to go and make houses in the colonies or in the slums. they prefer to have in a place where there is good soil, a town is nearby, and so on. And there should be school for the children to study, and there should be health facilities like hospitals in order to get treatment when they are sick, and so on. So they also look for places. For example, Pune is a town in Maharashtra, and all these facilities are there, and it is very crowded. People from different states come and settle down in Pune. Then another thing is cultural aspects. So places with religion or cultural significance attract people. So some places are very famous, religiously famous or culturally famous. For example, Varanasi is a religious place. It is very famous. Many pilgrim people come there. Then Jerusalem, that is another religious place, or Vatican City. So all these places people go and visit there for satisfying their religious needs, and so all these places are very considered as very important, and people like to live there, make houses there, and so on. Then the other fact is economic factors. So industrial areas provide enjoyment opportunities. So large number of people are attracted. So employment opportunities. Industrial areas provide not enjoyment but employment opportunities. Large number of people are attracted to these areas. Osaka in Japan and Mumbai in India are two densely populated areas. So where there is employment opportunity, that means people should have work and get money. So where there is no job at all, people go and settle down there, then they'll have no income, no source of income, they will be starving. So people like to work or like to stay in a place where there is lot of industries there, factories are there, so that they can get job in that factory. So some of the examples are in Japan, a town called Osaka is very thickly populated because it is a industrial town and lot of people get job there. Or if you go to Mumbai, you will find people from different states coming and settling in Mumbai, because Mumbai is a commercial town. A lot of business is going on, a lot of factories and other companies are there. Therefore, there's a lot of job opportunities are there, and people can get work there, job there. Therefore, they like to settle down there. So these are some of the reasons or factors which influence people to choose the place where they have to settle down. So places like topography, that means the place they prefer to live in town, the level areas. Then the climate should be not too hot or not too cold, and there should be good soil, especially for people who are cultivating farmers. They like to settle down where there is good soil and available water. Then some people like to settle down place where there are minerals available, so that they can become rich. So where there are gold, diamonds or oil, petroleum products are there, people like to stay there. And some we said about social factors. So people like to choose a place where there is a school, where there is hospital, and so nearby. Or people also prefer to live in culturally important place, maybe religious centers or maybe cultural center, and so on. And the last point we said, people like to live in places where there is chance for getting employment opportunity. So people like to become rich, to get job and sustain their family, and so on. So these are some of the things that affect the people or influence the people to choose the place where they should live, where they should stay, and so on. So let us wind up here today, and we'll continue in the next class. We'll still talk about population, and we'll see how the population is changing, and so on. So thank you for listening. Have a nice day.